All right, we've got our two faces done now. Those are all nice and smooth and ready to go for us, but we still have these two edges that we need to do some work on. So we're going to go back to the jointer, and of course the jointer has an 8-inch head in it here. We're only going to be using about 1.5 inches of it here. So all jointers have an adjustable fence on them, and I can move this fence in and out. And since I'm only going to be using part of that machine, there's no sense in exposing my hands to the cutter head any more than I have to. So I'm going to move that fence forward and only allow a little bit of the cutter head to be exposed when I push the board through. I'm also going to raise up the table a little bit so I can make a nice smooth cut on this one. I don't have to remove quite as much stock and quite as quickly as I did on the other faces. So I loosen that lock knob like I did on the planer, and then I crank this handle up, reset the lock knobs, and we should be ready. The other thing I need to do, I want one of these edges to be at right angles to both of these faces. So I need to make sure that this fence is at right angles to the outfeed table. So I'm going to take a square and I'm going to put it on the bed and push it up against the fence. As I can see the light coming through there, so I need to adjust the angle of this fence in relationship to the bed. So this has a locking mechanism here, and it has a wheel that tilts in and out, tilts the fence in and out. When I get it to match the shape of that square, I tighten it in place, and I should be ready to go. With this cut before, I used the push sticks so I could keep my fingers away from the cutter. This time I'm going to hold this piece of wood way up here so my hands are going to be well away from the cutter, so I'm not going to be using any auxiliary push sticks on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one hand, I'm going to push it up against that right angle fence, and I'm just going to push it forward. Really all I need is one finger to push this forward into the cutter head. Got most of the surface smooth. I'll run one more pass. Now, of course, I want to check and make sure that my fence was at 90 degrees, so I'm going to take my square and I'm going to hold this piece of wood up toward the light. I'm going to put my square on it and see if that edge of that piece of wood conforms to that square. And it does. So now this side is at right angles to both of these faces. So we've got 3 of our segments done, and so that I know that this is the edge that has been squared, I'm going to put another mark on this one so I know that that's the square one.